The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com. The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios. The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan? Just review the pages.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And welcome, Small Biz Pro. This is another series of our Business Zone, and our phone number here is 323-293-3375. That's 323-293-3375. If you want to give us a call, you want to join in on our conversation, we're going to have a great show today. Give us a call and share your views or share any insight about your business. It's been a while, Crystal.
I know. Last week, I don't have any ears. My ears are not working, but that's okay. It's been an interesting week.
Yes.
It's news-wise. There's all kinds of craziness going on in Washington that, of course, affects all of us. Right now, it's voting time, so it's so important. Everyone, you have to go out and vote. We can't make any changes if we don't get to the polls. I understand sometimes we think that it's not making a difference, but it does.
Yes.
And right now, we need these nutcakes out of because they are, I don't know, they're on a whole power thing now. And it's just, you can't have a country run by 5 crazy people.
Well, the thing about it is they take the electorate for granted. So they figure more or less that whatever they say or do, even if they're wrong, the electorate will forget about it and they can continue to do what they do and then solicit votes. So if you don't vote, remember this, if you do not vote, then you have no reason to complain about anything that's going on out there. You hear?
Exactly.
If you do not vote, you have no reason to complain about anything, from healthcare to student loans to your mortgages, because the interest rates are going up right now. They're going to jack you on that mortgage real soon.
And not just that, the gas. Yesterday,
the gas prices.
I think I spent an additional $10.
Yes,
that's a big difference.
That's a big difference.
And if, it's me, but if I'm a family of 4 and I'm taking my children back and forth to school, I can control my driving. But if you have no choice and you do that for a living, $10 is a whole lot.
And that's probably $10 a week.
Yeah, that's $10 a week. So that's important. Housing is important right now. So, yes, it's very important that we get our Democrats in the politicians in the office. But then on the backside of that, we need to make sure we're holding them accountable.
Right.
Because we just can't have people, what went down with Kavanaugh was ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, that's ridiculous. If that was, first of all, in my opinion, that was a job interview.
Yes.
And if you go to a job interview and you're acting like a lunatic and screaming and hollering, no, you're not
at your potential employer.
That's your potential employee. And on top of that, forget put aside the sexual assault claim. Let's just talk about his behavior.
His behavior was atrocious.
He was drinking while he was there on at the Judicial Committee. So that's any of those. If they actually were being hired in or operate or performing at a corporation in America, they would have been fired. Donald Trump would have been fired already.
Exactly. And so, that's what we need to hold them accountable to.
Right.
And my thing is, any one of them, whether they're Democrat or Republican, and they're in office and they're not performing, you get rid of them.
Right.
You see what I mean? That's how it should be. And I think those kids in Florida right now, they've got the right idea. That's the same message they're putting out there. They're going, listen, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. You get in there and you're not looking out for our best interest, we're voting you out.
And that's what needs to happen.
Yes.
And yesterday I was talking to a young man, and I was standing in line at Sears, and this young man, we just got to talking, and he's about 20-ish, in his 20s. And that's what I was having a conversation with him. It's very important our young people get out and vote, because right now this is about you and your world, and how we're going to make this a better place for you.
Right.
You know, if we have to, you know, we can skate through. The rest of us, anybody over 60, 50, 60, 60 pretty much, you can kind of skate through the rest of this stuff.
Yeah, because we probably have, like 20 years left, maybe?
20, well, I hope I got like another 45, 50, because I still got lots of stuff to do. But however, we're in a position that we can make money if we go out and do what we need to do and put things in place. But for our young people who are just starting out, who are just coming out of college, my nephews right now are just coming out of college or in college. This what we're doing right now cannot be status quo. No. Because for one thing, for us as people of color, it is really dangerous out here right now for us. It is. I mean, you cannot open up your Facebook, you can't turn the news on without somebody, a person of color, being accosted by a person of non-color. I mean, that little boy in Brooklyn. Yeah. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that one went. There's a woman.
Oh, in the store.
In the store,
where she claimed he touched her butt.
But when you looked at the video, he just walked past
and
her.
His bag
hit her. Bumped her. Yeah. But you know, in New York, you bump people all the time because there's too many darn people in New York. So you say, I'm sorry, and you keep walking.
She did it on purpose.
She went on a whole rant.
And even another lady who looks just like her was saying, stop it, cut it out. Stop this. It's a kid.
Yeah.
He didn't do it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was ridiculous. He's 9 years old, and now you're already... The boy is...
Call the police on him.
You call the police on a 9-year-old. He's traumatized. He's crying, and his sister's crying because they don't know what's going on.
And said that the 9-year-old sexually assaulted her. The kid didn't even touch her. He was walking by with his backpack. The store was kind of, there was a lot of people there.
Yeah. It was a bodega in New York.
He was going by, and the backpack touched her.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, she's claiming that the kid did it.
Right, exactly. So afterwards, even the store owner, he was very disturbed by it. So he released the tape immediately, yes. and the whole entire neighborhood, which appeared to be Dominican and Jamaican and all the islanders, they were not giving. They were on point. Yes. I mean, they had their cameras, and they pretty much forced her to say sorry, which I'm so sick of these empty sorries.
That's great.
My mother used to tell me as a child, think before you open your darn mouth. Yeah. Because you have a functioning brain. Mm-hmm. Think about what kind of consequences or who's going to be hurt by your words when that comes out of your mouth. So that was a grown woman. Yeah. Now, she wasn't 20. She wasn't 30. That woman was well over 50. Yeah. So she knew better. She knew exactly what she was doing. But they said that in that community, she's been doing a lot of stuff like that.
Well, I guess she got a wake-up call this time. I'm sure she probably will think twice.
Well, one would hope,
because the whole community came out against her. So sometimes that's what it takes.
That's what I think. We gotta get involved, get connected. Yes. Same thing in St. Louis. The woman that was managing the she was supposed to be an on-site resident manager, and a young man, black guy, came in with his key fob, and she followed him to his apartment. And saying, asking, demanding to know if he belonged there. He's opening up his door with his key, and she's following him with the dog. So it turned out that the company, hey, Ardina, it finds out that the company that she works for is the owner is a person of color. So they fired her. So it's just insane.
That's
it's just
ridiculous.
What the heck?
Ridiculous. It's getting out of control.
It is way out of control. I think if you're that concerned that you don't want to be around anybody, any other ethnicities, then you probably should pack up your little bags and all your little assets and move yourself to a little island where nobody on that but look like you. Yeah. And then that way you should be happy because now you just with your own and there is no interaction. Take your money with you. That's okay. We don't care. Crazy. Take everything with you. We'll stay here and build this country the way it's supposed to be built. It's ridiculous.
Unbelievable. So what else did you do this week, Crystal?
Actually, I met this young. I got a new client this week. It was a referral from Sharon Evans at Business Solution Group. Yes, a resource group. Oh, was I impressed with this young man?
Oh, very good.
Oh, he has a his company is called Finhoco Concrete. And he did this business with his father, and he worked with him. Now he has his own company, and he's doing certification. His business is he's all the certifications.
That's good.
I want to say he's kind of in his mid-30s, but am I ever impressed?
That's good.
With all I really had to do was go in and tweak, and we converted from QuickBooks on to desktop to online. So when I had met with him, I had told him so that would be the first step. When I got to him on Monday, he had already converted it. We did have to go in and make some I had to make some adjustments, but knew everything about his business.
Those are my favorite types of clients.
Oh my God, I was just so impressed. I told him, I've been bragging on you all week. Insurance is in place. The reason they want me to review his books is because he needs a larger bond because he just got a contract at LAX. And so it was a pleasure because I was just so impressed with him, just impressed with everything. So that was one thing. And then, Saturday is the day of my show. I'm performing on Saturday. So I want to do a shout out to the young lady that's our burlesque instructor, but choreographer, because this girl, one, is living her passion, and two, she is so good at that. Her name is Katrina Fossey, and so we had one of our friends, one of the ladies that's dancing in the performance. She got really sick. She took the flu shot. I am totally against the flu shot. She came in the next day definitely ill, and so she's had to pull out the show. So the show is geared around all the bodies. So on the spot last night for our dress rehearsal and tech review for the show, Katrina had to change all the numbers in order to accommodate the now 4 dancers versus 5 dancers.
So that means you guys are going to take on additional roles? Or?
We had to we learned some new steps, and she had to add on another piece to it. So I was in the studio last night till 12:30.
So your show is this Saturday?
It's Saturday.
What time and where?
At 8 o'clock at Crenshaw Yoga. I sent you an invite. You didn't get it?
Oh, you did. You probably did. I haven't looked up my email all day.
So are you going to come? Because I have tickets.
I'd love to come, yes. Saturday night?
Saturday night. Doors open at 8.
Saturday night. I'm going to be, it's Kelly's birthday, so we're going to be over the Palms down there in Downey.
Oh, okay.
I've been hijacked.
Okay. Well, the next one.
Yeah. Oh, I would have loved to go on, though.
So we're having our...
Are they going to videotape it?
It is videotaped. We haven't got the one. She's been so busy. We haven't gotten the one from the other show, so it may be a little minute. We probably have done the Christmas show by that time.
Yeah, I'll be at the Palm.
Yeah, so we have another show coming up in at Christmas, and we're having our Crenshaw Yoga is having the annual Christmas ball.
Oh,
yeah, it's going to be December 15th.
All right.
So we're out marketing and getting sponsorship for that.
Excellent.
So that's been the week this week.
All right. That sounds good. So
I've been working in my community.
It sounds like you've had a very engaging week.
I have.
And all the activities. And did you spend any time with Dawn?
Actually, Monday I got this. I went to the gym. Wednesday, no, because I had a long day on Wednesday with. I had another rehearsal, and then I had. What else did I have? We had the digital marketing, and that's just growing.
That's
and
great.
So we at the digital marketing class, we talked about what did we talk about? Our blogs and the mobile app, and how a mobile app can really help your business, and how you should be using it, because a number of people have mobile apps, but they're not using it appropriately. So
that's good. That's good information.
Yeah. So
I could have benefited from that.
Yeah. So he was. So, this is every week ongoing until the end of December.
Yeah.
And everybody seems to really, really pleased.
And it's every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Los Angeles Urban League at 4401 Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, Suite 201. Just some good stuff. So everybody's been given the task to go ahead and start setting up their domain with whomever, and Bluehost or some others out there that you can actually optimize your site or your blog.
Yeah.
And to go ahead and start setting it up. And then he's going to, each week, next week, I think we're going to talk about the demographic target market for who you're, based upon what you do and what direction you're going, whether yours is going to be a passion product or a project, or it's going to be based upon your business, then on what that content should look like and who that content should go to. So that's what the class is next week.
That sounds very good.
Yeah, all the things that one needs to know, because you just can't throw darts at a dartboard expecting it to work.
That's right. And since I'm not the marketing guy, I'd like to learn a little about it, even though I know I'm not going to be that guy doing that.
But you need to know.
I need to know what's going on.
Right, you need to know. Because everybody in the classroom, and this has been ongoing with anybody I've ever spoken to, you go get your website. Yeah. First of all, it's static, and so you don't know, and they don't normally know. Yeah. According to Armin Santos, they don't know that part of it, the monetizing of a site, and so they just create you a beautiful site, but the site, what's driving them back? So unless they have, like you have a product, who else goes to your website?
That's true.
I mean, even RBD, they do go to our website because our resource guide is there. But other than that, who's going back to your website? Yeah. So you got to tie that in, and you got to give them a reason, because you need the traffic in order to make money.
Yes,
that's the part about it. So that's the good thing. The other thing is RBD is having its 90/90 membership drive. So we can get you an ad in the resource guide. So you go get in the resource guide this year.
I know, finally.
Because you always like the last 10 minutes of it.
You know what I'll do? Just to make good on this, I will write you a check right here on the air right now.
And then we can get your ad in the book.
Yes.
And then
how much are we talking about?
So $200, which gave you a half a page ad and a membership to RBD annual.
A 1-year membership. So the half a page ad, I got to just send you guys the material and you guys put it in.
Right, and I can send you the specs so that you can get it in.
All right.
You probably have something already
I'm
set.
sure I do.
And you just need to send it to Jackie and get it done.
Yeah.
And you can get an ad. So we're going to do this like next week. Because usually you're asking me and she already put the book to bed.
I'll write you a check right now.
On the air.
We'll do the official signing on the air.
Okay. And it's so important, now I think more so than ever, that we as African Americans, we need to take care of ourselves.
Yes, we got to do that.
And we need to reshape some mindsets, and if not, just go with the mindsets that are already shaped and ready to go forward. Because I tell you, we are endangered species like the dinosaur
That's
about
right.
now.
Look, it's my second to last check, Crystal.
Okay.
And I'm making sure I support the cause.
Okay, recycling black dollars.
How much is it?
$200.
Everybody, are you listening? Are you watching? Look, I am writing my check to Recycling Black Dollars because I want to be a part of that program. I want to be listed in their directory so I can provide resources to the minority and black communities. Follow my lead.
Right.
Writing a check right now. How much again?
$200 for a half page ad.
$200 even.
Right.
for a half-page ad.
And now you get to come. You can come in and talk, and you can speak to the membership,
and you gain access to the membership.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can sell whatever you want to sell.
Yep.
Yes.
In fact, this last month we specifically didn't have a guest speaker, and we let it was about 10 of our members that got up and talked about their business. They had a full 5 minutes. Oh, they were so excited. They were planning, and they had all their materials. They got a big kick out of that. So We're going to do it again in December.
Good.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely be there in that system.
Good. So how was your week?
Oh man, what did I do? I was trying to catch up because, I'm behind because, I had all kinds of things going on a few weeks ago. So I was trying to catch up on all my work. I got so many things going on. I got the certifications. I got risk assessment plans to write for clients. It's just crazy.
Did you get some rest?
A little bit.
A little bit.
I didn't get as much as I should.
Okay, still working on that.
I'm still working on it, and sometime before it's like 3:00 in the morning. It's like, whoa, where did the day go?
Yeah,
and
you should take because this is my thing is if there's actually a national holiday, then everybody goes. Nobody's calling you, right?
Yeah.
So then you should take November and for Thanksgiving and go do something.
I'm going to have to do that.
And just rest.
I'm going to have to do that.
Because nobody needs you.
Yeah.
Usually that whole week of December from Wednesday on,
yeah,
they are not caring about anything that you're doing because they're doing their own thing.
That is true.
So you should make a plan.
I'm definitely going to have to do that.
And do that and take care of yourself.
Yes.
Because that's
important. There are some other things. Oh, so I got registered for the CES show in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
And the CES is Consumer Technology. Consumer... what is it? Consumer Electronics Show. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. My brain was on vacation there. So what it is, it's a show which showcases the latest in technology, whether it's from the household standpoint or commercial.
Oh, cool.
So I want to put Small Biz Pro on that platform.
Oh, fantastic.
And I want to showcase it to the world because it's an international show. People come here from all over the place.
Oh, that's big. CES
and it's
big.
It's Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the first week of January from the 8th to the 11th.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. That's one of their largest conferences.
So I got registered for that, and I'm really excited about it.
Yes.
So one of my partners, she should be showing up here at 3:30. She's going to be helping me with the marketing and all of that stuff.
Okay. Well, good.
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad because you got to put it on the map. We got to do big things, no more little stuff. Big stuff.
Yeah, we're trying to make things happen right now.
Right. So you guys hear that out there? You want to do big stuff. So 2019.
If you have a technology product that you want to get to the market, and you also want to get it to an international market. January 2019 in Las Vegas. You want to make sure you go check it out. Even if you cannot display your product while you're there, you want to go there and try to meet some of the movers and shakers in the industry.
And you also find out how the trends are.
Yeah, you see the latest trends.
The latest trends.
And when we go, we're going to see the latest in computers, the latest in televisions, the latest in all of these household
everything.
And commercial items.
It's just absolutely. I was telling my sister, we have a, the little robotic vacuum cleaner.
Yes.
So we have that, and his name is, he even has his name, we call him Kusi.
Yeah.
And so he goes off on various times, but he's like a child sometimes because he gets stuck up underneath tables and chairs, and we hear this beep, 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 and we have to go rescue him, move him back. Then he come back and he go back. But what I remember about that little round robotic vacuum cleaner was, when at the very first time I went to Disneyland in Tomorrowland, they had that.
Oh, yeah?
And that was a very long time ago because I was a child. And they had the robotic vacuum cleaner. They had the refrigerator that tells you when it needs to be clean and all the stuff that happens now.
Right.
They had the oven that you could hit a button on. Who knew? What are the dates Ardina's asking for the CES?
The CES is January 8th to 11th.
January 8th through the 11th, Ardina. And hello, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
And if you're going, you want to start booking your hotel rooms right now.
Yes.
Plus, it's going to cost you $100 right now, but if you wait until November or December, it's going to cost $300
for registration.
Just for registration, and then your hotel rooms are going to be out the roof. They're going to be anywhere from $300 to $600.
So you need to start. Yeah, you need to make reservations right now.
You want to reserve those rooms right now. As a matter of fact, I've been half stepping for the last week and a half, so I probably missed some good deals on my hotel room. So tonight I'm going to do that. I'm going to lock it in.
What hotel do you usually stay at?
Westgate. I usually stay at Westgate.
Oh, at the Westgate? Oh, we actually have a timeshare for that. I think it's over
I do
soon.
too.
Yeah. So that's where you stay?
Yeah, so that's where I stay. So I want to lock it in right now. Otherwise, it's going to cost about $300 a night.
Yep, it is. It's
$300 a night for 4 or 5 days.
Remember when Vegas used to be like $30 a night?
I know.
$45 a night. Remember those days?
Actually, they still have that. Because last time I was there, it was $30 a night.
Where were you? At Westgate?
At Westgate.
Wow.
That was last week, 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
2 weeks ago. But because of the event, whenever there's an event, they jack it up, man. $300, so I think we're at the bottom of the hour right now, so you want to go ahead and take a quick break?
Yes, we can. Okay. So, guys, we're getting ready to take a quick break. You can watch us at morrismedialive.com. You can also call in at 323-293-3375. You can check us out on Facebook Live at the Business Zone. And you can also, when you go to Morris Media Live, you're going to be actually checking and tuning in to us on our YouTube channel.
And we got our very special guest that we'll be bringing in on the other side of the break. And this gentleman, he knows a lot about alternate financing for small businesses. So call in, tune in, and listen in.
All right. We'll see you back in a second.
Take a break.
Hello. Meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
So we're back on the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And Crystal, today we have a very, very special guest in the studio with us.
Before we do that, we need to recognize that Dawn is not here.
Oh, yes.
She's working on a big project that just came up. So she is in Valencia today, editing some video and shooting some footage for this next big endeavor.
Yes, our very special co-host,
Ms. Dawn
Strozier,
who's our resident fitness
who we love
guru.
to have on the show. She's just phenomenal, brings a lot of life and energy to the show. She's not here today, but she's out making money for the show.
There you go. And she'll be back next week.
And Dawn, we want that check when you get back here. Just remember that. Bring that check, all right?
Okay, so now who is our guest today?
So we have this very special person in the studio today. His name is Mr. Howard Alexander, and he's got experience. He's an experienced marketer, as a matter of fact, and he spent several decades working in advertising. He's worked with market research firms and with franchises, helps to grow small businesses. He has graduated from the University of Redlands, where he majored in economics and English literature. And he holds an MBA from U.S. International University. And Mr. Alexander travels throughout the United States and Canada, giving numerous marketing and presentation seminars and series. Along the way, Mr. Alexander, he led the nation in sales with Fortune 500 companies. I cannot believe this. This man has got what it takes. He has been brought into this company to help them with sales. And usually their sales were at 40%. This man walks in there and it was 400%. That's how much he increased sales for them. So with that being said, I just want to point out this last point here before I bring on Mr. Alexander onto the microphone. But he's currently the founder and CEO of Alexander Business Funding and Alexander Credit Management. Mr. Alexander, he also owns this funding, Alexander Business Funding, that specializes in lending money to small businesses up to $1 million. Without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our special guest, Mr. Howard Alexander. Mr. Alexander, welcome to the Business Zone.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
After reading all that stuff, I wasn't even sure who he was talking about.
You're wondering, who is this guy he's talking about? So I met Mr. Alexander over at USC. We were there about 3-4 weeks ago.
Okay.
And USC has a program called CBEST. CBEST is a contracting program for small businesses, help them to become contract ready, which I'm a part of, and we'll be launching that program in January. So I met Mr. Alexander there 2.5 weeks ago.
Yes.
And we were talking, and he told me what he was doing. He told me of his accomplishments, how he increased sales by about 400%, which was phenomenal.
Wow.
And I'm going, I got to get this man on the show.
Yes.
He's going to have to teach some of our small businesses how to do this thing, how to market, how to increase sales, and how to make it happen. So tell us a little bit about Mr. Howard Alexander.
Thank you so much.
And finally, someone that recognizes that marketing and finances go hand in hand.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
Because most people don't think that they go hand in hand.
No, they do. You cannot grow businesses without capital.
That's right.
And you can't have successful businesses without marketing.
That's right.
Exactly.
And it's kind of interesting because even when I was at the University of Redlands, I was the only black student in the economics department in the whole school.
Wow.
So I'm sort of ahead of the curve, so to speak.
Right.
Yes.
When it comes to that business experience, but it's just an absolute necessity that we don't, we have great ideas, we want to do certain things, but we have to have some of the technical skills that will make us successful, even though the idea may be outstanding. One of the things that I found out is that wherever I went, it really didn't matter.
I was eager to learn. Starting out, no matter what it was, I would just read. Like I would read Fortune magazine cover to cover. I would read Forbes cover to cover.
Me too.
I would read Business Week cover to cover. I'd read Harvard Business Review. You know, and so after a while, you start to find out that what are the real key issues that business people have to deal with, and the single most important thing, other than capital, which I do lend money, is that you have to have a distribution system. If you do not have distribution, you have nothing.
Right.
You know, the greatest product in the world sitting in your garage isn't going to do you much good.
Right, exactly.
So those are some of the key things that I learned throughout my business experience.
So what brought you into the financial and marketing space? I'm sure when you were growing up, you wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer,
or a baseball player.
Or a baseball player, like many of us, you know, when we're dreaming as we grow up. So what brought you into that space? What attracted you to that space?
There's a few things that did that for me, and I hate talking about myself. My daughter had to twist my arm, to get me to write that bio. Because I was uncomfortable going, I'm great and I'm wonderful. And, they should make me king pretty soon.
Yeah.
See,
you got to learn how to pat yourself on the back.
The
First
president.
of all, here's this is how I think of it. You put in a lot of time and effort and money in acquiring the knowledge and the skills that you have. Right?
Yes.
And so you should be proud of that.
I am.
Exactly.
And so that's why you should brag on yourself. Because there are a lot of people who have not done that.
Yes.
And they're not using those talents and those skills to help others.
Yes.
Right.
In order to grow. So that gives you bragging rights,
Thank you.
sir.
That's
so
right.
Brag on.
Brag on.
Yeah, so what had happened from my marketing and business experience, I had a lot. I did well in doing presenting.
Okay.
So they would want me to present, but what started to happen is we want you to present in New York, and now we want you to go present in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And now we want you to
That's
go
what we
present in
want to do.
Boston.
I want somebody to tell me you want to present in New York. I'm like, when I get on the plane.
Yeah, so during that time, I've probably done presentations in probably 45 of the 50 states.
Oh, fantastic.
And in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just got a little bit tired of the traveling, and I was forced to because I'm a single parent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I couldn't leave my young children.
Yeah.
Okay.
One just graduated from college last year, but I couldn't leave them at home by themselves, and I needed to be there.
Okay.
And so that's what made me change to something that I could take more control of.
Okay.
Now, I knew one thing from my business experience, that capital was absolutely important.
Yeah.
And I also knew that we had underserved communities because in doing my research, I found out that most of the banks are really, especially since 2008, they're turning down about 80% of the people that apply to them.
Yeah.
So you have a plethora of businesses out there that have absolutely no access to capital, therefore they can't really grow like they should.
So being in the industry, did you figure out why they turned down so many small businesses, so many applicants? Was it because of their small business, because the racial, their ethnicity? What was it?
It's a combination of things. Some of it is small business. Usually, this is one of the things that I think. Banks usually lend money to people that don't need the money.
Yeah.
That's just kind of what they do. They're risk averse. So they're not that great as far as I want to take a chance on any group of people, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it just becomes even more disconcerting in a lot of the minority communities, Yeah. So that's where I wanted to fill in and see could I help those people in those areas. Yeah.
I am. I think we're on the back side of it now, but there was an initiative that Milken Institute and the SBA put out, and so we've been working on it. It was targeted for Los Angeles and Baltimore, which has the largest minority or black-owned businesses.
Yes.
And so one of the things that was really earth-shattering, when the very first meeting that I went to, they gave us a chart, and they were saying these are the loans that the SBA had provided for small businesses. So for African American businesses, they had only done, and this was in 2014. Yeah, 2014. They had only provided 20 loans to African American business owners, and then for the Latino population, they had 243 loans. Wow. So big difference. Yes. And then the next year, we increased by 20%, which is 43 loans, but they didn't say it in numbers. And so I've been whenever I go to a meeting and people start talking in percentages, no, we need to know what that number looks like, because 20% sounds like a lot, right? Yes. But if you don't understand, if you understand that our starting point was 20 loans, then that's only a small percentage.
Exactly.
And so, and then in the Latino population, they had increased to 450 something loans.
Oh yeah,
so that's
well
huge. So that was one of the reasons for the initiative. But then we called in all our stakeholders and kind of addressed some of the issues that was denying the loan. So one of the principal things we found out is, and I've seen this in going to access to capital meetings held by banks all over the place. So as soon as they have it, and as soon as they start talking about that FICO score, they lose them. And then the first denial letter that they get, that's it. You've like crushed them. And so then they're like, no, I'm not going to do that again. Because, how many times do you need to reject me?
Right.
But what is absolutely interesting, and I've said this so many times, that I can go to the bank, no matter what my little FICO score may be, I can get a car loan, right? They can give you a car loan to a certain month, you get it up. Even if your FICO score is 700 or 800, there are people who have got 700 or 800 FICO scores that cannot get business loans.
Right.
That look like us.
Yes.
But you can go get a Lamborghini. If you choose to, or the highest price Tesla that they have, and they'll even let you buy houses up here, which are up in the millions, and they'll give you a mortgage. But why won't they give you a $10,000, $15,000, $25,000, $30,000 loan to infuse cash into your business?
Right.
That's the problem.
Because business owners have power.
Business owners have power.
I was looking at a study, and they were saying that 25. The average black family has to earn over $100,000 to get rejected at the same rate as a white family that earns $25,000 for mortgages. So there's a disparity across the board. What we have to do, and that's why I started the credit management component to the business, because 54% of the information on your credit report is erroneous.
Exactly.
So we have a big problem there. So we have to have an advocate for us that can explain the process. It's intimidating going into anything that you don't know and you don't understand.
Exactly.
It just becomes like, what does that mean? I don't understand it. Your body's going, what's going on? And if you have a grasp of it, then it's okay. Because it doesn't bring up the fear. We go into that fight or flight mode.
Right, exactly. And that's big. That's huge. When you think, okay, again, you're going to make, because it's not the rejections. You're making me feel this small.
Exactly.
You're making me feel that I'm inadequate in order to run my business, and for you to give me money to run it properly.
Right. So it has a psychological effect.
Absolutely.
Yes,
it's a judgment thing.
It's
a judgment thing.
It is. So you won't go. And then they think the credit score is like a lifelong albatross, that it can never be changed. If I had 25 years ago, I had a 500 score, then it's like that. Every 10 years, everything drops off. And you kind of start with no credit.
And there's a lot of things that I had some things on my credit that had been taken care of. They were sitting there for, it had been at least 5 years. They were just sitting there. And I went to get another job, and they said, well, you have these liens on here. I said, I took care of those things 5 years ago. I just had to go to an office, tell them I paid it, and they knew it. They said, oh, yeah, we know it's there, but they didn't take it off. They didn't take it off. So we have to, it's like checking your bank balance or looking to see what's there. I didn't do that, and we have the computers, we have the machines, We have all kinds of things, but a lot of times we don't have people on the other side of the phone or the computer that know how to make sense of it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that I was paying utility bills by banking, right? Mm-hmm. So in order for me to even put the utility bill up there, say it's my gas bill, in order for me to have that bill up there, I have to have money in the account to even put it in there to transfer it. So then I have the bank call me like in a week saying, "Oh, you have insufficient funds for your gas bill." I'm saying, "Well, really? How is that possible?" They said, "Well, it says here it didn't get paid and this, that, and the other." So I asked them, what were you doing? Because I explained to the lady who calls me, in order for me to even post that, it has to be money in the account. And she went, "Oh, yeah, that's right." and then what I found out is that the bank had shut down their system for maintenance over the weekend, and that's why the thing wasn't taken care of. I have had that happen in more than one situation, even for a car. I had the full amount of the car note put up, so I borrowed against it. So actual interest was costing me $1.50 a month. Right?
Wow,
that's my interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so I got into an auto accident. I wasn't able to work and whatever. So I called the people and I said, "Listen." They said, "Well, you haven't paid your car note." I said, "Well, all the money's up there. The full amount of the car." I said, "I've had it for like a year and a half. What's the problem? Just take the money out of my account." They're like, "Well, we can't do that because you don't have the money in there." I went through this for like 3 months.
Critical thinking is also a dangerous species.
It is. So finally, I go to them. I say, "Look, just pay the whole thing off." "Oh, you can pay the whole thing off, but you can't take 1 month payment out." It's amazing the ineptitude that exists, and so that's why I'm trying to arm people with sort of like, we go arm in arm, and we'll take these folks on, and I'm going to give you some information, and we know even more information, so we can help you out, because it's a tough thing to work your way through, but it can be done.
Right.
We want to get some people where we can get their credit scores above 750 and 800, but also expand the capacity for them to borrow if necessary, but try to keep the reserves and things so they can have low debt or no debt at all,
right?
And even pay things off faster.
So when the bank says no, they're directed to you, and you take them and you bless them and repackage them and
absolutely
make them whole again.
Yes.
Now, what do their credit score need to be at?
Well, for instance, if you're above 700 or 750, there's certain lines and stuff. Say, for instance, if it's an FHA loan, if you're above, I think 750, you only have to pay about 3.5%. If you're below that number, you have to pay 10% as far as a down payment.
That's a big.
So that's almost three times as much.
Yeah. Exactly.
So those are the types of things that we have an awareness of, and we know what they are in various lending institutions, and even for your car loans, we're going to make available credit cards where we can take your high interest credit card and transfer the balance to a low interest credit card and then pay the debt off even faster. So there's a combination of things that can be done, and that's what I want to do. And when you need the money, if it's for a business, I don't lend money to consumers. I do lend money to businesses, but I also work with the consumers because consumers need cash too.
Exactly.
So we want to do a combination of things to help the people.
That's good.
And do you also help businesses set up their business credit?
Yes, we can do that also. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I think that's really important.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
The other thing that is so important, I want to say this to all business owners out there: please keep good records.
Yeah.
Please keep good records. Please keep good records.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest Achilles heel for a small business, because not keeping good records mean that it's going to make it difficult for you to get a loan or a line of credit. It's going to be difficult for you when you file your taxes, because what are you filing against? When you obtain payment from an invoice that's out there, how do you prove those payments? So sometimes you're probably not being paid on certain invoices. rightfully so, because you don't have good record-keeping system.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they don't even know they're owed the money because they don't have
forgot
the record-keeping.
or they didn't invoice. And it's so interesting because, I got a QuickBooks class that's been running. It was supposed to be done 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And they're so excited. This particular group of people are so excited about it. I keep extending it a week so that they can really dwell into it. So I told him that I was going to have another class. He's like, okay, we'll sign up for the next level. So I'm like, whoa. And I've been using QuickBooks for like 30 years. So in pretty much any accounting system, because they're all the same. But I've had so many more requests lately for people, because it finally is sinking in.
Yes.
You have to have the records in order to prove.
Well, when they're having things like what's going on with MTL here along Crenshaw and tearing these things up, sometimes these organizations will offer you some type of financial assistance.
It's called the BIF right now. The business.
If you don't have any good records, you can't show them what your income is and them decide how much they can give you. And I talked to a couple of people that had that problem, and then they had increased the amounts even later on, and they gave them more money. No records, no money. So you lose in many ways. And the other thing, you put yourself at risk with the IRS.
Yes.
I had 3 family members work for the IRS, and 2 of them were business auditors. And they would always tell me, whenever you're doing business, never cross the line, always stay within the law. But you can do so many things within the law if you follow and keep good records.
Yes.
And I can't overemphasize that. The other thing I'd like to say about the record keeping is that if I were coaching a team, basketball season just started, right? And I'm a great coach and everything's going along, and they say, well, Howard, you're doing pretty good. It looks like your team has a lot of potential. But the only thing, you're just at 500 right now. You've won 25 games, you've lost 25 games. What are you going to do to make a change? And I go, well, I think I should do this. I said, well, how are you doing in rebounding? And I go, I don't know. I don't have any numbers on it. Well, what's your free throw percentage? I don't know what that is either. Well, what about turnovers? I don't know what those numbers are. So how can I improve myself as a coach? How can I see where my weaknesses are, understand what my strengths are, and get my team better? And it's the same thing in your business. If you don't know what's going on financially, nothing's going to happen because you won't know where to make the improvements.
Exactly. And you can't make any, that's one of the things I've talked about. In fact, I actually restructured how I teach my classes is I start off with cash flow.
Yes.
And then we work into managing and tracking the cash flow. But if you understand the cash flow, in fact, one of the students told me, okay, Krista, I need to have a whole accounting class. Can you do a whole accounting bookkeeping class? Because I think I need to, it's not the tool, because he finally got it. Right. The software is a tool. You got to understand how it works from behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
And so as I incorporated that in, now they gotten excited because now they can see how that works for the money. How the money works and how the accounting and tracking of that money works.
Yes.
But you are right about Metro, because what happened, we lost about 370-something businesses on this corridor.
Okay.
Because they could not track their businesses. And then I just heard from Ken that across the street here, Boston Deli, they've been struggling. They didn't have all their resources, and then when they were going to reimburse them, because you really have to incur the losses.
Yes.
That's how it was set up before you actually get any money.
Yes.
So because of that, Brooklyn Deli, they hadn't incurred. So now they didn't get their money until too late. So they've been fighting with the owner of the building. And so with that, now they're having to move.
Oh, boy.
And I don't know if they're going out of business or what they're doing, but that's really sad.
Yes,
it's sad because our community, it's important that we keep that cohesiveness.
Yes.
But the resources and the information and the stuff that we're talking about should have been dispersed to these businesses 5 years ago before they broke ground.
Absolutely.
then they would have been ready,
Right.
and armed with knowledge.
Yes.
But they didn't have knowledge, and so that's what happened.
One of the problems that you have with entrepreneurs is that most of them tend to be technicians.
Yes.
So if I was good at baking pies, that's really my expertise. And I have the best pies in the world. I said, gosh, you better get those pies from Howard.
Right.
You know, he makes great pies. But I may not be a very good manager. I may not be a very good administrator. But I can make a quality product.
Right.
Or whether I work on cars or whatever. And they have to have, in our community, we have to get the full component of how a business operates in order to understand how to make it viable over a period of time.
Right, exactly.
And that's where the difficulty, and that's with everybody. It doesn't really matter what community you come from or what persuasion. You have to expand your knowledge as to what you're doing, because again, like I say, most of the entrepreneurs, they do something very well and they think I can make just as much money as the boss or more, but you don't understand the other components that go on to make that business long term.
No, because most of them fell into their businesses. You know, their businesses by default because of what they did very well.
Yes.
But the actual, and then once they got into it, and this is when you know that there's a deficit, right? Because when you fall on hard times, you don't know how to pivot.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you only know what you know to do when it was going well.
Yes.
But when it stopped going well because the economy or some outside external whatever, then that's when your business starts to suffer, and you don't know how to recover from that. And that's unfortunately what happens with our minority-owned businesses.
Well, it happens. It happens in Detroit too, you know.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because I worked on a number of automotive accounts. I've been in and around that. I consulted the car dealerships and what have you. And what you have is, in the corporate arena, people keep getting rewarded for not doing very well. So they're losing tremendous market share. I mean, and they're looking at 10-day reports going, wow, this is really great.
Right, exactly.
But you're selling 100,000 less vehicles than you were like 2 years ago in the same category because Toyota or Nissan or somebody has done better, but you still get that big bonus. And the next thing you know, all of Detroit is suffering like, we're going to be going out of business. We need a bailout. But the bonus structure is not designed for them to perform. So they don't change either. They don't pivot, so.
And would you agree that would be because when you go to school, you always work. Your MBA is based upon you working for a company, right?
Yes.
And as an entrepreneur, I think you learn, especially if you're good at what you do and understanding what the full capacity of being an entrepreneur is. You learn that you always have to look ahead.
Yes.
And then be able to apply that, not just look ahead and not apply it. Because I think that's what happens to the large corporations. Like right now with your retail stores, they're having problems because they don't know how to compete with Amazon.
No, right.
They don't have a clue.
The thing that makes you successful is also the thing that will bring you down.
Right.
It really will.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. You have this formula, and you say, oh, this is really good. And it might have a 2-year run, a 5-year run, a 10-year run, a 15-year run, but it's going to change at some point in time.
And
that's
happens,
the most difficult.
That happens without careful planning and putting a strategic plan in place. Now, I want to ask you a little bit about how do you help small businesses build their credit, because that's one of the services you offer.
Yes.
So I just wondered, for our audience listening out there, how do you help them to build their credit so that they can compete again for cash, for funding?
Yes. Well, two things on the Alexander funding side. We don't even look at, when I send stuff to underwriting, they don't even look at credit reports.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem because there's enough information out there where they know by character. They look at your bank statements. All I need is a one-page application and 3 to 6 months bank statements or credit card statements. That's it. But they know enough. They have about 50 criteria that they look at, and they can tell. But on the other side, and I think people need to be able to do both. It's not like, oh, you can borrow the money and whatever. You need to, if you can get the money, do that. and also build your credit score on the other side, because you may need capital from someplace else, another source. I would like to build people up to the point that they can go any place and get capital. Like, say they might need capital from me, or I need something for 10 days or 20 days because I can get it to you, or 30 days. I have a short term on my inventory, and I can do that. And have me for something else and go over to Bank of America. So we want to do both. We want to get their credit scores up. Like I can go in. If they have things on there, we get the credit report. We can challenge things. We can take off old information that shouldn't be there. Most of the people we come in contact with, we see where they can't, like, this is just erroneous information. It doesn't belong here. It's not even mine. I don't know where it came from. So we send a letter that challenges that information, and somebody has to prove that we owe it. So there's a combination of things that we can do to help them.
Okay, yeah, because that's a lot of our businesses.
Yep.
Majority of our businesses actually operate on that premise.
So a small business they pull their credit report and they see some bad things on it.
Yes.
Like 90 days, 120 days where they didn't pay. And they're going, I really need this money for my business. How can I do that? So what would you recommend to them? To pull their credit report, once a year, just like they they mentioned to us? Or how would they know what's on there and what to fix?
Yeah, you're going to have to check it periodically. I would say at least a minimum of every 6 months. And if you know that there may be a need, you probably want to pull it at least 30 days ahead of that so that someone could do something for you. Because if there's a lot of bad information on there, you can't fix things. I've seen stuff on my credit. I'm like, what are these two items doing here? One's $37 and the other one's $59. And I just went to they didn't really want to see me because I try to avoid that as much as possible. And I got my stuff fixed in 30 days.
Now, isn't it true that if the balance owed is less than $200, it's not really a critical component on the credit report? Is it true?
It depends on who you're talking with
okay.
and who's making the judgment.
Okay.
Because you have to remember that banks and stuff want to increase the interest rate. So I've talked to millionaire property owners with rental property, and they go, well, your property is in this community, and we don't want to do such and such. Or you were late on your gas bill because, well, I was on vacation and this, that, and the other. And they still want to do it and move the interest rate up. So we have to be our own best advocate and understand the law, and we can help people do that.
Wow.
That's important. And now what about someone who's just starting out, who may not, they don't really have credit, period.
Right.
But they're now in a position that they're starting their business. What would be some of the advice for them?
How do they build that?
How do they build credit?
Here's one of the things I think that's really great, and I've been remiss in doing this sometimes. I use a debit card a lot because I don't really have any outstanding debt, so to speak. So what happens is and I'm getting ready to flip over where almost every transaction I'm going to do is I'm going to use a credit card. But I'm going to use a credit card that has reward points, and I'm going to pay off the full balance at the end of the month. So not only do I track all of my expenses, but I get rewards points at the end of the year. And I go, oh, look how many rewards points I have. Guess what? I get to take a free trip somewhere, and I've still spent the same amount of money that I spent with my debit card.
Okay.
So you want to use it. So for somebody who doesn't have credit, I would say apply for something. If you can get it, then use it as an expense tracking, but pay off the full balance at the end of the month. And if people, even if they have some expenses, we can get them to spend a small amount of money. Say they owe, I'll just say $1,000. But we can get you some credit card stuff over here where you never charge more than $100, but you still pay off the full amount. Now it starts to build your credit score and boost it with that. So there's a lot of things that you can do to fix that. But,
Okay.
I mean, just so many things.
Okay.
So getting those cash rewards cards are very good. That's
Yes,
a good way of building the credit.
Yes, they are.
Now, I also recommend in my classes that small businesses should take out a merchant card like Home Depot, Office Depot, And then make sure before they take out that card, make sure that that merchant is reporting that credit activity to either Dun & Bradstreet or to the credit bureaus, because that's how you're going to build your credit as well as a small business.
The other thing that you have to pay attention to, and we specialize in doing that, is you have to see when your payment dates are. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times if you're getting something in the mail and the payment date is, I would say you get it on the 3rd and the payment date is on the 5th, all of a sudden you're getting these late payments and the interest kind of flips over and you're charging more money. And so you're saying, well, I paid the minimum of $15. We don't want you to use the credit unless you have to. But if you pay it off at the end of the month, it makes it better. But that's a good thing. But again, you must be aware of due dates because it'll bite you if you don't.
Right. Yeah, that's what I actually teach in the cash flow. Mm-hmm. I have a client, he's a minister, and a small church. Mm-hmm. And I told him I go in once a month to every 2 months to balance out and provide his reports for his board meetings. Mm-hmm. And so, I think he's been my client for over 10 years now.
Okay.
He has never bounced a check.
Okay.
And his resources are, small. Mm-hmm. But I told him, I said, you are the best cash flower I've ever met in my entire life. Mm-hmm. Because he knows exactly what the due dates are. And he knows when he sends his money in, especially his largest payment is probably his mortgage. Mm-hmm. He makes sure it's within that time frame.
Yes.
So one, that they're never reporting, and two, that he never is in a deficit on his account. So
Excellent.
Of course they have resources coming in every Sunday.
Yes.
Which is helps you monitor that, because you got to have resources coming in order to make sure. But I tell them that, understanding that if you get your payment in, some sort of payment in before that 30-day marker, day 31, then you're all right.
Yes.
And then you start building your Dun & Bradstreet. And you can see it better with your Dun & Bradstreet because it actually moves faster. Mm-hmm. And I've had clients that have gone in, their credit was like crap when I first went in. That's why they called me. And they had all kinds of problems, and then troubleshooting it. And then within a year, their Dun & Bradstreet has gone up.
Yes.
Their vendors are calling going, did you get somebody new over there? Yeah. Because now making sure you're controlling the money.
It's
you know
critical.
Exactly how the money
I've seen a lot of people, they're making $500,000 to $1 million in gross receipts, and they got problems.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not monitoring their cash flow, they're not paying their bills in a timely manner, and they're bouncing checks. Mm-hmm. So you don't, and it's avoidable if you just pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've had clients where the banker, because we may have worked at the same bank, and then I know the branch managers, and they'll go, Crystal, I got a client for you. Can you help them stop bouncing checks? I've gotten several clients from branch managers for that very reason.
So how do you help them stop bouncing checks?
Because they don't understand. If they're not monitoring their money, if they're not tracking it, and they're not looking at reports at the end of the month, and seeing how the cash is flowing,
they're not looking.
They're
at
just
the
writing checks. It's
and
like
outflows.
Yeah, it's the old additive. I got checks.
Yeah.
So I can just keep writing. And I think the other thing is the debit card doesn't help.
No.
So especially if the debit credit, and they fixed that a little bit, but it used to be one of them you actually had a 3-day pass.
Yes.
Right? Like you used to do with checks, but they kind of closed all that down. Yes. Mm-hmm. So, but in the earlier days, they gave you like a 3-day window, so you were working within that window. Yeah. But when they stopped that, then you didn't control that habit. So you're still using the same habit. That's no longer viable.
And I think some of the things, too, is I'll check my statements fairly often, but sometimes people won't, the person where you charge the thing, with your debit card, that payment just won't come through slowly, whatever's going on with their system. Mm-hmm. So that throws you off, because some people, they don't balance their checkbook. They go look at the balance in their account, but they don't know that all the charges haven't come in. So
right, exactly.
That can be a problem also.
What are 3 tips that you can give to small businesses, and looking in that camera, tell them, here are 3 tips that you need to be concerned about if you really want to become lender ready. What are 3 tips that you can tell small businesses?
Don't bounce checks. That's the first one, I would say.
Yeah.
Keep good records so that you understand your business and you can grow it. And I think the third thing is really have a vision for where your business can go as opposed to where it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those would be the three things that I would
Yeah, that sounds good. So is there a phone number, an email that you can give, or a website that you can give to our viewers/listeners?
Yes. AlexanderBusinessFunding.com is the best way to reach me. And right now we're working on the credit website. We're revamping it a little bit. So even if you contacted me through that would be fine. And we should have that up and running by the end of next week. So we should be okay. And also my email address is alexanderbusinessfunding@gmail.com.
Right. I saw the change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my phone number is area code 747-227-4449.
Okay. Yeah. Let's run that number by us once again.
Yeah, that's
747.
Yes, 227-4449.
All right. Are you guys listening out there? This man is a savior for small businesses. If you need to obtain funding, the bank's not talking to you. They're saying you're too small. You know, they got this song out there right now saying big bank eats little bank. So that's what's going on with us right now. You know, the big banks don't want to talk to us. So, you know, we're settling with the little banks. So, you know, I don't want to say you're a little bank, but
but you're not one of the big.
But you're not one of the big banks.
The conglomerates that are going around eating up the smaller banks. Yeah. But here's an interesting thing, Howard, that you said is knowing how to maneuver in the system, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was telling a friend of mine last week when the news came out that Trump actually had $43 million to start his business, and
I think it's
413 million.
413 million. Okay, so you know most of our businesses are always saying I don't have money to run my business.
Yeah.
So then you go use that one. You had $13 million, and you still managed to bankrupt 6 businesses.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So it's not about money, is it?
Poor management skills.
No.
Because that's a whole lot of money.
Yes, it
is. I mean, what the heck did you do that you could bankrupt 6 businesses and you had to start with $400 million?
Yeah. Got a running start.
Yeah. That was an Olympic start.
Yeah.
That was like running against Usain Bolt.
And still messed it up. And he still messed it up.
And he still messed it.
If there's any small businesses out there listening and you want to call in, you've got some issues that you want to clarify with your credit situation, your banking situation, our guest here is Mr. Howard Alexander. And he runs an amazing funding program. It's called Howard Alexander Funding. So please reach out to him. His phone number is 747-227-4449. If you have any questions you want to ask him. Crystal, you want to go ahead and take a break?
Yes, let's take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll talk to him about his marketing skills.
That's right. So you're on the Business Zone with
Crystal,
Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic, and our special guest, Mr. Howard Alexander. Take a break. Are you contract ready? Are you bank loan ready? So I want to know how business ready you guys are. Part of what we want to do is to match you up with contract providers in Vegas, the casinos.
We put together this training for the contractors in Las Vegas to assist them in becoming business ready.
You know, when you first start a small business, the thing you're the shortest on is resources. So the association is actually providing the training free.
Now, Buchanan Associates, they're very well known throughout the U.S., mainly out of the California region, but they have produced so many successful companies that we felt if we brought them here to train our people, that it would allow for that growth because we have so many public works type projects, stadiums that are going to be built slated between now and the next 2 years, prepared to be able to do that work.
show you.
So we're back on the Business Zone with
Crystal.
Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic, and our very special guest, Mr. Howard Alexander from Howard Alexander Funding. And he's here to help small businesses understand their credit and understand why you can build your credit and obtain the credit you need without putting in a lot of sweat. So, Crystal, you had some questions for Mr. Alexander.
Yeah, we were going to talk. I was just telling him about some of the classes that we've been doing on digital marketing.
Okay.
So this is, especially for our businesses that are capital challenged.
Yes.
So depending on your business, one of the things that we've been talking about is how you make money. And there are 5 ways to make money on digital, using digital marketing tools. So one is ads.
Yes.
So those are those ads that run across the top part of your website. So you have to have you have to use like a WordPress website because it's designed to have the sticky ads that come across, and then down and then down the side on the sidebar you have ads. So this particular company is one of his clients, and it's called Pitch of Yum. So they're a blog, and they actually started this business for this purpose. There was no other reason. They were not they're foodies, but they created this business because they were in debt. And they understood how digital marketing worked. So they created a food blog. So they actually go through and they create meals. And you don't ever even see them. They're not even on the video. But across their ads, and I don't think this is one of them, but across their ads, across their website, ads will pop up. So they drive traffic by creating blog posts that talk about their food, and that draws traffic over, and they push it back to their website.
Okay.
So now they have over 693,000 followers.
Oh, my goodness. 693,000.
Wow.
And when you come to their site, as the ads are populating, you don't have to open them. You get paid more if they're clickable.
Okay.
But they just have to come to your site. And when they come to your site, then how many times long they stay there. So on some of their sites, no matter how long you're there, it could be 10, 15 ads popping up on the site at one time. And so let's say you get your 693,000 people that come to your ads, so you're getting paid. So that's ads.
Yes.
So they make somewhere like $22,000 a month on just that.
That's fantastic.
And that's times 12 months. So that's 1.2, right?
Yes.
And so then the next way you make criteria you make money in is on sponsorship. You're getting someone to buy an ad on your website, and you have that traffic, so they're interested in your traffic. So every time somebody come on, they might click onto that, and then that's the way you make money. Then your products and services.
Yes.
But then they take your product and service. So all of us are pretty much consultants, right?
Yes.
So you could have, and I've said to you on your capability statement, you have a person sign in and they pay $5 for your capability statement. So that's times 693,000 people.
You're getting me interested now.
You do the same thing with a pamphlet on, or a little guide, an ebook on how the steps to correcting your credit.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you can get more people than he can on cable. You could actually get millions of people coming to your site, right?
Yes.
Times $5.
Yes. No, you're absolutely
and with
right.
all the traffic and all the places that you've traveled.
Yes.
And that's how you make money on digital marketing.
Absolutely.
So we've been doing a class on it, and so he's been showing us the backside, the spreadsheets. And so these people are making they're making $95,000 a month. They've been doing this since 2016.
Okay.
And after expenses, so they now actually have hired people because they're and they only post twice a week on Monday and Thursdays. That's all they do.
Wow.
And they're netting $66,000 a month.
That's great.
And they haven't sold anything.
That's amazing.
Well, you know what's interesting that you said that, because Craigslist and those type of companies and whatever, they only have a handful of employees, because they're doing everything digitally. That thing is set up that way, so it's a wonderful way to monetize your information. Really,
right? Exactly.
You're monetizing your information.
You're monetizing your information. So when you look, and now corporate, these are individuals he's talking about.
Right.
But go have a corporation, they're doing like 10 times the amount of money.
Yes.
That average, but $95,000 a month for just people coming to your website, and your 2 posts a month is pretty significant.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Initially it takes, and he's shown us the traction. So they started out, and they get money from different places, but primarily all of them are within those 5 categories.
Now, are they on? They just have a blog, or they're on Facebook, or they
they have Instagram. They're on Instagram. So the foodies, which is a great one, they're on Instagram or Pinterest.
Okay.
So you go there, you see a picture, you click onto it, it drives you back to their website. And so now, and you may give them a free recipe. So now, but in order to get that recipe, you're capturing email addresses, right? And so every time they come on to your site, then money is just, the clock is just ticking for the cash register. It's just ching, 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 ching. And then, of course, then you sell your ebooks or any type of book, but long as you're engaging, so you can do that on Facebook, you can do that on Twitter. You don't make any money, but you can draw traffic to your site.
Right.
Instagram, you also draw. Everything is moving traffic, because we're not conditioned to draw traffic. The whole thing with the website for most of us is, wow, I got a website.
Yeah.
And in most cases, websites create what for you?
Nothing, a bill.
Right, but credibility.
Yes.
Because if somebody's looking for you, and they have to see there's some kind of carbon print, and that's your website.
Right.
But other than that,
that's pretty much it.
Once they come there and see you one time, what's the purpose of coming back to you?
Right.
They're never going to be back to your website because there's no reason for it.
Sure.
So this is the whole idea, is to create the content in order to draw it to you. Yes. And I was telling Armin, I said, and most people, and even Elliot here, he came last Wednesday. He said they usually tell you, this is going on, and people are making huge amounts of money, but they never give you the steps on how to do it.
Right.
And that is and the kind of money that you're making. So that's the thing, that when you're talking marketing, for some businesses, that is more enticing for you to create a website and make sure that you're putting they call them waterfall ads, because they keep coming. And they're based upon my interest or your interest. So whatever I search for or whatever you search for on the internet, then those are the ads that's popping up on those websites that you're going to.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Alexander, tell me this. How do you see your organization combining the digital marketing piece with the funding, so the small business can really achieve more in getting the funding from you?
I think the most important part, I think, is really the credit side, and that's why I created that portion of it, because I found out that was the weak link.
Yeah.
If I can walk into a business or call them on the phone or direct them to my website, however I may, meet them like I met you possibly. Right. That's one thing. But the only thing that's going to happen then is I'm satisfying the need of people who are somewhat qualified already. Okay. Right. What I wanted to do was to do the additional thing of getting a lot of people that were maybe close to the line or weren't even aware that they could even do that, to help them with their credit issues, to get their FICO scores up. Now they can borrow money from me. Individuals can't borrow money from me, but the business community can borrow the money from me.
Right.
Now they're also prepared to supply, become suppliers to the governmental agencies, the state, county, and federal thing. And they have the possibility of going down the street to Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase or whatever.
Right.
So, and it allows their business to take on a different vision, so that it can be, gosh, I was just going to be on this corner. Maybe I should have multiple locations. So that's really what I'm looking to do, and that's why, I added that credit component so that they can just have a bigger vision of what their business can be. And 80%, I'm approving about 90% of the people that apply.
Really?
Yeah. The banks are turning down about 80%. So that gives you some sort of idea.
So you're 10% better than them.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, more than that, because theirs is negative.
Yeah.
They're really only approving 20.
Right.
And I'm approving 90. So, I'm about 9 times better than them.
Yeah. That's great, because most small businesses don't realize that there are other opportunities.
No, they don't have any idea. They don't have any idea.
Yeah, they feel banks are it.
Right.
And then once they've been turned down, gotten rejected there, then they're not going anywhere.
Right.
And no one is really telling them that either.
Yeah.
When you go to Access to Capital workshops or seminars or whatever you want to call them, they don't ever tell you to go somewhere else.
No.
They just kind of walk. I remember Carl Bolton, when he was at the Union Bank, and he said, we were in a meeting, and he says, the worst part of being in banking is that I kill dreams almost every single day.
Absolutely.
He said, that's the worst thing for me in this business, is because someone comes in with a great idea, and it is a great idea.
Yes.
They just don't have the capital. They don't have any assets.
Yes.
And they've not been maintaining or records. And so they can't give them any money because you're not bank loan.
Well, even I was at the LA Business Expo yesterday, downtown Los Angeles, and I was talking to a young lady there, and she was telling me that she was involved in a project where they were tracking even venture capital. Now, 75% of the venture capital is going into Silicon Valley, Boston, and New York. Now, those are research centers. So if you're not related to something in technology and research, now that means all of the rest of the country shares that 25%.
Wow.
So there's almost no money on the table even for that. So say a banker doesn't back you, maybe a venture capitalist would. But if you're only getting, for other ideas other than technology ideas, if there's only 25% of the money out there for every other place in the United States, that's a very small pool of money.
That's very, very small.
Yeah.
Right. And again, they don't even know that they could go there.
Exactly.
And especially if they don't have if they have a non-tech business.
Yes.
And not to say that tech businesses know how to spend the money either.
Right.
I've worked in companies where they got venture VC money, and in fact, that was a experience that really set my accounting practice off. Is because I watched some people go through $12 million in 10 months, and I was processing the check, so I knew exactly where the money was going, and it was the most bizarre thing. It's like, wow, how do you spend $12 million in 10 months, people? But it was
crazy.
It was ridiculous stuff.
That's because it was other people's money.
And really no real product.
No real product
to turn over, because there was no revenue came back out of $12 million. So here's a number: out of $12 million, they actually created $350,000 in revenue.
Oh goodness. That's not sustainable.
That's not sustainable.
Unbelievable. So, Mr. Alexander, anything else you want to share with our small business population to get them doing things a little differently? Because we know the record keeping, most of them are not doing.
Yes.
They're not monitoring their credit score. How frequently do you think, would you recommend this program? I think it's called Credit Karma or something like that. Did you recommend them using that?
No. I think that they're going to need something a little more personalized.
Right. Well, just to monitor their score.
Oh.
Because Credit Karma, you can go on there.
Yeah, you can monitor your score that way. I don't think that's a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, Credit Karma is fine. But sometimes you can have a high score with little capacity.
Yeah.
You see? And so that's the problem. It's like, well, if I have a great credit score, I only make $500 a month,
Right.
So that becomes a problem. But yeah, I think that's a good tool to use.
Yeah.
I think with the things now, we're almost going to need the identity theft protection and stuff like that to see that someone isn't using our name and things. think, nobody sticks a gun to your head anymore. They just go into your account.
They just go into your account. And it happens to a lot of seniors because, they're very gullible when someone calls and that other person's very good at what they do.
Well, a lot of times they don't even have to call, and that's the whole thing. You could say, do something at a restaurant that occurred 3 months ago, and somebody's acquired that number somehow, and they just pop it into the thing. Because I had a call. The reason I say that, because the charges were out of France, they were out of Germany, and they were on a cruise ship somewhere in the Caribbean. Wow. And I got those all within a matter of one day. So you just don't know. Yeah. You just need that protection.
Yeah, you definitely have to monitor your account and have your bank. So when I go out of town, I always go to my bank and tell them I'm going to be out of town.
Right.
Because I bank at Broadway Federal, and they monetize all that. Yeah. And they just shut stuff down. It's like, hey, that's me. I'm in. So I always go in or call them beforehand.
Sure.
I remember I used to have a credit card with American Express, and when I go to Vegas and I purchase stuff, they'll call me immediately and say, hey, someone just did a transaction on your credit card in Vegas. Was that you or was that someone else?
Yes.
And then, if it's not you, you're going to say, "Oh no, it's not me. Shut it down."
Right.
Yeah.
But if it's you, then all of a sudden it's a good thing for you.
Absolutely.
So these are things we want to put out there for small businesses as tools to get them. Do you have workshops? Do you hold workshops?
I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
I've done a little bit. I've done a little bit, but I want to make that part of my agenda now.
Yes.
Because even though I just think I have to reach more people. I have to reach more people and give them some basic information. I think that the information will start to make people more comfortable because a lot of times you just have to have the attitude of, I got to go and challenge this stuff. Whether it's kind of like your posture. If you walk in the bank with a certain posture and you're dealing with the manager, assistant manager, it doesn't have to be arrogance, but it has to be an attitude of empowerment to some extent. If you don't have that attitude, then a lot of times people will just tell you something and you accept it and you go, okay, because you're feeling a little bit like I'm out of my area of expertise.
Right.
So that's why I want to reach the people, and so I can empower them to at least feel that they can ask the right questions. They don't always have to get the right answer, but they at least need to ask the right questions. And then if they can do that, then they can get people to respond to them in a more positive way.
Right.
So I think that's the thing that I'm looking to do with people, to give them basic information, and then as I go on, I can give them more advanced information. But they gotta have that.
And I think you probably will find doing online classes probably will get you to a larger number of people than doing in-person classes.
Do you do research on? Because a lot of institutions, they do these types of things, agencies, organizations. Do you do research on the percentage of small businesses that are considered not creditable?
It's interesting that you asked that. I was just looking at some figures today.
Yeah.
And I would say that the banks, the major institutions, are treating 60 to 70% of the businesses as not credible.
60 to 70.
Absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
Good. So that means 6 to 7 out of 10 are rejected.
Yes. Well, they're rejecting probably 90, but some of those others are on the border. Now they could go to maybe a credit union. Yeah. Maybe they can go to a smaller community bank. They're approving a little more. Yes. But if you talk about the major, institutions that are national in scope, we're talking about pretty much 80%.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting. See, I'm a data junkie, so I always want to have that kind of data, have it available. Because if I'm going to help you, first I want to know statistics.
Right.
And then see how I can turn around that statistics in your favor.
Absolutely.
So, we know small businesses have problems with credit.
Yes.
We know it's very difficult for them to obtain credit.
Yes.
Some of them bring it onto themselves. Some of them, the system make that decision for them.
Yes.
So you are an alternative to the system and what's out there.
Yes.
So in a user-friendly kind of way, how can a small business come to you and feel like, hey, this is my savior. I'm going to get this loan. It's going to help me with my credit. How does that work?
Yeah. First thing is they have to be patient because they have some real credit problems.
Yeah.
And they can sign up with me, so to speak.
Yeah.
The range of expense on the services is starting at minimally around $39. So we're not talking about a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it goes up to a little over $100. But I'm going to tell them that, based on their credit report, you have to start to change your behavior to some extent.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I can shape their picture in a better way where the banks are looking at it or anyone else is looking at it and going, wow, this is looking good. As you mentioned, Crystal, when you start to pay your bills in a certain fashion, people on the other end go, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
It's like sending your kid to school and you've disciplined him and you're saying, listen, you come in here and you do your homework. Before you go out and play, you do anything, and this is the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
And after 2 or 3 weeks, the teachers are going, what's going on with Johnny here?
Yeah.
Because his grades have gone through the roof.
Right.
And it's the same thing with the business. So I try to have them look at their business like it's a business report card, And the other thing that we check is that we check what's going on personally with people because we want to know what type of character they are.
Yeah.
So that's another component that a lot of people don't think about.
Right.
Are you going out gambling a lot? Are you going to with Gilbert to Las Vegas?
Yeah. That reminds me, I need to go buy my lottery ticket. Almost $1 billion tonight.
Right.
With odds of 500 million to
500 million to one.
And the fact that it's a big one, so that means all the entire country is.
Oh, yeah.
To me, I can spend my dollar much more than that. I just don't. That just bothers
I just had to throw that in.
When I find out that somebody in Boston won and I put my $2 in, no. I want my odds right here in Los Angeles with the Los Angeles number. But that's correct. I think also, and that's kind of like old when lending from a different era,
yes.
Right? They looked at the holistic picture versus just one little thing for your credit score. Because in today's world, if you're ill or you have an ill spouse, you're going to be devastated by the expense of just maintaining their health.
Yes.
And if they even, I think I was listening to something the other day that it used to be you could buy insulin for like $30, $40 that and your insurance company paid it. Now insulin's $200. So if you're diabetic, and that's a chronic illness.
I had no idea what that was.
That's a lot of money. That's over 150 something percent.
Surely.
Trade. So who has $200 and you have to have your insulin?
Yes.
So or you die. So those kind of things can destroy your credit, and that's no fault of yours. That's an external problem.
Now, one of the things that we have what we call a one-time non-occurring event, catastrophic event.
Right.
So we can talk to the creditors about that and tell them, if you have a wife, she's only going to die once or she's only going to be on dialysis.
Right.
And you can say that has impacted your lifestyle or whatever else has impacted your business, and that they need to take that into consideration, and they do that. We've had people where they had their daughter was in a horrible accident. She was the only child, and she died.
Wow.
And they were just devastated.
Yeah.
They had a lot of money. They stopped paying their bills. They just shut down.
Yeah.
They shut down. And for about 6 to 8, 9 months, nothing was going on with them. And so in order to get them back on track, they had the money to do everything, but we just, sent in a letter of explanation. Hey, this is what's going on with them. Able to lend them some money to get things back. And then after a certain period of time, they had great credit ratings and everything. But there are ways to get around those things if you know what you're doing, and that's what we try to help people to do.
And that's very, very important. So, the outreach of that is important because most people don't know. And then with businesses, I think, with all of us being consultants and coaches, is sitting down with someone and finding out what their future plans are.
Yes.
And that way you can then plan on what you need financially, money-wise, in order to finance whatever those future plans. And also, how can whatever those plans are actually generate more money than you think?
Yes.
Because most of the time we are such linear thinkers that we don't see, well, maybe we sold here, we did this, but we're just thinking this because that's the business we're in. It doesn't see that it has multiple arms that could generate so much more income or revenue, which can put you in a better situation.
Absolutely.
I'm of the opinion if you have money, you don't have credit problems unless you just that's just the type of person you are. Because if you have money, you don't, unless you're that type of person like, the hell with bills, you're going to pay your bills. It's when you don't have money, you got to figure out how I'm going to pay a little bit over here, a little bit over here, a little bit over
decide,
here.
Do I feed Peter today or do I feed Paul?
Paul, right. Exactly. But when you have money and you're of a good caliber and you've been taught, to pay your bills, you're going to pay your bills, but don't have any money and see what happens.
Yes. No, that's true.
Unless you have something catastrophic like you talked about.
I have one final question before we say sayonara to you.
Alrighty.
How long would you say an average time does it take for a credit makeover for a business that has had some serious credit problems? 6 months, 9 months, a year, or it depends?
I try to take that, say, on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
But to give you an example, I could probably fix somebody's credit in 30 days. It's going to crash in the next 30 days.
Yeah, if they don't
because
understand.
It's not really based on something that's real.
Right.
So you want to go with a long-term approach, but that could be in the 6 months to 12-month range.
Right.
I think it's doable. It depends on the cooperation I get from the client. And that's the real key. If they're set on doing something and really serious about it, 6 to 9 months. But I would look more along the 9 to 12. It doesn't have to go much beyond that. If they're not, we got to go out 18 months to 2 years.
Right.
And within that, though, are we including some financial literacy so we don't
Absolutely.
get it? Okay, because you got to understand.
Without it,
how you got
it's
there.
like the people that you're teaching the QuickBooks and they go, I need accounting. I can walk into pretty much any business, especially any small business, and I'm not talking about even car dealerships, and I can start to look at the books or the research or this and that, and I go, oh, I know where the problems are.
Oh, me too.
I know where the problems are because it's a guide. It's a guide to what you're doing. It's just an assessment. It's like, you got a C on this test, and then you got a B, and then you got an A minus. The trend is positive. What happened here? I didn't even know that test was coming up. So you see it, and then you bounce back up. They go, I see. You just didn't know that was going on, and you were out 2 days with a cold or something like that. But, yeah, I would say, to answer, again, Gilbert, I would say probably a minimum of 6 months. And if they're really conscientious, that would be a good number. And on the outside, max 18 months, but definitely 6 months to a year, we can do something real well.
Okay.
That's excellent.
And I think I lied. I said I had one question. I got one last one.
Okay.
Another last one.
Can I interrupt you for
Sure.
just a second? He told me, and I want to say that about broadening your vision, okay, is that he said that I had a 400% increase. It was actually an 1,100% increase.
Whoa, see?
So,
I was kind of tapering him down a little bit, but hey, see?
And how did you do that?
That's a spiritual thing going on.
Oh, okay. All right. I understand that.
And that's why I say that, because sometimes you get blessed in ways that are beyond your scope just because you're trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you.
That's very good.
Right.
That's
if you're
very
on the
good.
right path, with the right mindset and the right heart, God will bless you in such ways that it will create a 1,100% increase.
That's phenomenal.
Yes.
That's phenomenal. Now, how do you help small businesses to separate their personal credit from their business credit? Because a lot of small businesses, they lump it all together and they use a one credit card for this and that. And take the checkbook and...
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
We just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
The first thing is what type of business structure are they operating under?
Well, some do with a corporation as well as their sole prop. So
should not do that because you don't want to start commingling funds.
Yeah,
okay?
But we got to kind of hold their... We're going to have to force them not to do something like that.
Absolutely.
Well, actually, I think,
and explain to them, because habits are hard to break, good or bad.
Yeah.
So you have to explain to them that they're causing confusion there.
Yeah.
And they just want to keep those things separate. Again, it's a matter of seeing the records correctly.
Yeah.
If it costs you this much to live, you keep this stuff over here away from what's going on over there.
Right.
I just think it gives you a much clearer picture as to what's happened.
So in other words, if you look at your business financial statements and you see dog food on it, you know that, hey, they're mixing their personal with their business unless they have a guard dog company.
Or you're running a pet food store.
Oh, yes.
One of the two.
It's the only way you should see dog food on that business account,
That's
right?
it. Yes.
All right, well.
And bookkeepers tend to, if you have a bookkeeper, they tend to, I'll go, I'm like, And I'll make little sounds like that. And then when I
I used to have a tax lady like that. When she looked at my taxes, she'd go, I'm going, oh, Lord.
And then I'll run a report, my P&L report, and I'll go, see this right here, member drop. And then I was like, can we refrain from doing this from here on out? But after the collect.
Whenever my tax lady look at my tax and I hear her go, I go, okay, what's wrong now? What did I do?
It works.
And I will never do it again.
It works. I've been using it for over 30 years. And then they'll go, I guess I shouldn't have done that, huh?
Yeah.
Then they'll come back. Okay, all right, before I do this, should I be doing this? I was like, so you're asking me, what do you think that means? I shouldn't be doing this. Right. So hire a bookkeeper and they will get you to break that habit quickly.
That's right. Hire Crystal so she can, and once she,
It works.
Well, Mr. Alexander, I want to thank you on behalf of the Business Zone. Thank you for coming here today and sharing your pearls of wisdom with us and your accomplishments. This has been great.
And maybe we need to have a joint workshop.
Yes, that would be
with
great.
Him. And Gilbert and I are talking about next year doing a series of webinars,
which is a great transition into my next point. So,
right. So that'd be great. So let's talk about that and doing some collaborative work together because what he talks about and what I talk about, it's just the perfect sentence.
Yeah.
Man.
When I run into people, and at least I know now that you do the accounting side, and I go, this is what you need first.
Right. Well, first you got to look at it and go, and you send him to her. Right?
Have I got to? I tell you, I have bank managers calling me. I have a source of tax people that call me that they get boxes. If they don't want to do the boxes, they'll call me, and then once I get them on straight and narrow, my thing is I'm not going to do it for you.
Yeah.
We're going to sit down and you're going to learn the software yourself.
That's right.
I will come to you and teach you the software. Once they do that. Because they don't understand until they're actually physically working the software, and then they have a different mindset about the whole thing. It works perfectly. But yes.
So again, if you want to reach out to Mr. Howard Alexander from Howard Alexander Funding to just to sit with him, counsel with him, and find out how he can help you, or if you're in good standing with your credit for your business. His number is 747-227-4449. That's 747-227-4449. And again, thank you, sir, for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So we have about 5 minutes to go, Crystal, and I know we're planning on doing our next series of workshops. This is a contract readiness and business readiness training program. So we're thinking of starting this, in October? In November?
Probably the first part of November, where it'll be a, 4 to 6 week class.
4 to 6 weeks.
And it's going to teach you how to fill out the applications and what you need to be in order to become first contract ready.
Yes.
And then after that, our guarantee is that when you leave the class, you will have 2 certifications with the city and the state of California, and then help you navigate through what that looks like.
And of course, when you come, the first thing we do is we do an assessment with you to see where you are and what type of work you need to have done with you on your business. And coming up, Crystal, I've got a workshop coming up October 30th, and this is going to be with GLAC, the Greater Los Angeles African American Chamber, and this is going to be on Tuesday, October 30th. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to 11, and the location will be at 5120 Gold Leaf Circle, Los Angeles. This is at the Woodridge Building. I don't know if you guys know this building. I think it's right next to the 24-hour fitness center.
That gold,
yes,
Golden Circle,
right
on Slauson.
Exactly.
Slauson.
So that's where this is going to be. The title of the workshop is Developing Your Capability Statements and Being or Becoming Contract Ready. We're going to go through a plethora of information in terms of how to develop a capability statement, what it looks like, what the components are, and also a 20-point checklist on how to become contract ready. So it's going to be a great workshop. It's going to be very interactive, and we're also going to do in-class session on building your capability statement. So this is going to be phenomenal, Crystal.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. And then I have a couple of events that's coming up. Tomorrow, I am dancing my second performance at Crenshaw Yoga Dance and Yoga and Dance Studio. We're doing a performance called a Seductive Seance. It's my first class. It's the early bird tickets, which you can get from me today. It's $18 at the door. It'll be $20. Really fun and exciting.
You know what I'll do, Crystal?
What?
Since I'm not going to be able to make it to your event tomorrow, I'm going to buy you a ticket.
Oh, look at you.
I'm going to write you a check right now. Today I feel like Santa Claus. I'm just supporting all my small businesses around me. Felicia, do I owe you any money today? I could write you a check.
She said she's taking donations for the Podcast Academy. She's taking donations. Everybody's always taking donations.
So I'll just feel generous today. I'll buy you a ticket.
Okay, cool.
Because I won't be there tomorrow.
And so now Gilbert's going to buy the ticket, then I'll raffle the ticket off. So you guys hit me on Facebook and tell me you want to come, and Gilbert's already bought your ticket.
There you go.
And then November 2nd through the 4th, the Bella Network, the women's organization, where behind every successful woman is a tribe of sisters that helped her become successful. So we have our 3rd annual conference, and so reach out to the Bella Network. You can find them on Facebook and also on the internet, theBellaNetwork.com, and find out about the conference. It's phenomenal. It's a conference to help women support each other, build each other up, and create our tribe. And then another event that's coming up is November 6th, everybody get out to vote.
Get out there and vote.
Get out and vote. Hopefully you're voting blue. If not, I don't know. But let's make sure you vote blue. And then our last thing, I think there's an event coming. Is that it? I think that's all our events coming up. The Seance, Vote, the Bella Network, and your event. Those are our 4 events that's coming up right now.
Yes, and be there. It's going to be phenomenal. I mean, we have 18 days left for us to make major decisions, and I'm going to reiterate my point that I made earlier. I know we have a few seconds left, but remember this. Your mortgage is going to change. The status of your mortgage, the interest rate is going to change over the next 12 months or so. If you don't vote, chances are that can go against you. You got student loans. Right now, I still have student loans. I graduated
forever ago,
many years ago, right? And I still have student loans. Yeah. Because these guys keep gypping me, with the interest rate and all of that. So if you want that process to change, you've got to vote. You've got to vote. Your health care situation, the way it is, they're trying to repeal Obamacare right now again. because that's what they said yesterday in the Senate.
And strip your as they call it, your entitlements, but your Medicare and Social Security, which you pay into.
So you got to vote.
You have to vote. And here in Los Angeles and actually across the country, rent is if you don't have a mortgage, so you don't relate to that, you do relate to your mortgage, to your rent, and so you really need to read the initiatives very carefully. I would say Google the pros and cons, because each one is for somebody else. So Proposition 10, if you own property, is in your benefit. If you are a renter, it is not in your benefit.
That's right.
So you really want to look at that and read the fine print, because there's always something at the bottom that about 5 years from now going to jump up and bite you. So make sure you read and do your work, your study. And I personally, I'm driving my ballot to Norwalk, because there's some crazy stuff going on with the voting. Folks, they're really trying, and in the states where there's a large population of black people, they are trying to keep you from voting.
Yes.
Your ancestors and people before you died to give you the right to vote. So make sure you get out there to vote. Today, I think I read something that on some radio in some backwards town, they're talking threatening lynching if you go to the polls.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, it's insane.
That's ridiculous.
So we're in some very strange times right now. Your vote counts, and we need to protect our children's future.
So remember, Proposition 6, 8, 10, and 12. Those are for the major propositions on the ballot you want to look at. You're either going to vote yes or no. One is going to be against you. So you want to read it up. I don't want to tell you to vote yes or no, but I know how I'm going to vote, because I don't like any of them.
Just do your research. Just read.
So we're going to sign off. We're going to sign off right now. We want to thank you for tuning in to the Business Zone. This is
Krista
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic.
And we will see you next Friday at 3 o'clock at MorrisMediaLive.com.
Excellent. Are you contract ready? Are you bank loan ready? So I want to know how business ready you guys are. Part of what we want to do is to match you up with contract providers in Vegas, the casinos.
We put together this training for the contractors in Las Vegas to assist them in becoming business ready.
You know, when you first start a small business, the thing you're the shortest on is resources. So the association is actually providing the training free.
Now, Buchanan Associates, they're very well known throughout the U.S., mainly out of the California region, but they have produced so many successful companies that we felt if we brought them here to train our people, that it would allow for that growth, because we have so many public works type projects, stadiums that are going to be built slated between now and the next 2 years, prepared to be able to do that work.